Your cholesterol is high, so you cut out the eggs, the butter, the red meat, maybe the cheese, and the number barely moved. Here's the reason, and almost nobody explains it to you. Most of the cholesterol in your blood does not come from your food. Your own liver makes it. It dumps it into your gut every single day inside a fluid called bile, and then your body turns around and reabsorbs about 95% of it right back. You are recycling your own cholesterol over and over. That's why cutting one food after another never worked. What actually works is eating the foods that grab that cholesterol down in your gut and drag it out of you before your body can pull it back in. I'm Dr. John Myers. These are the 10 best foods to do exactly that, and a few of them work faster than you'd think. Before I give you the list, one quick thing. I took everything I tell my own patients and put it into one simple plan for eating your way to a stronger, healthier heart after 60. Thousands of people are already using it to take back their health. The link is right there on your screen if you want it. All right, let's get into the food. Hold one thing in your head, and this whole list makes sense. Every food I'm about to give you does one of two jobs. It either grabs the bile in your gut, so you actually pass the cholesterol out instead of recycling it, or it feeds the good bacteria in your gut that break cholesterol down so you can't absorb it. That's the whole mechanism. The more of these foods on your plate, the more cholesterol leaves your body instead of piling up in your arteries. And if you want a number to aim for, it's about 5 to 10 grams of soluble fiber a day. That's what Mayo Clinic points to for a real drop, and you'll hit it easily with what's coming. There's a flip side too, and it's simple. Saturated fat and refined starch, the fried stuff, and the white bread. Quietly, tell your body to hold on to its cholesterol instead of dumping it. So, while you're adding these 10 foods in, easing off that junk is what lets them actually work. One cheap thing worth doing first. Ask your doctor just once for a blood test called lipoprotein(a). Say it exactly like that. It's the genetic piece of your cholesterol that food can't touch. And most people never get it checked a single time in their lives. One test, one time, and you'll know if there's a hidden risk hiding under your regular numbers. Then get to work on your plate because that's the part you control 3 times a day. Let's start at number 10. Number 10, garlic. When you crush a raw clove, it releases a compound called allicinin. That's the stuff that stings your nose and gives garlic its smell. Allicinin does 2 things for your cholesterol. It brings your bad cholesterol down a little, and it calms the low-grade inflammation that makes cholesterol stick to your artery walls in the first place. The National Institutes of Health looked at the research, and the effect is real but modest, a few points. So garlic is a helper here, not the main event. It's also been shown to nudge blood pressure down slightly. So it's doing your heart a second favor while it's at it, but it's an easy win. And there's a trick to it most people miss. That allicinin only forms after you crush or chop the clove and let it sit for about 10 minutes. If you throw raw garlic straight into a screaming hot pan, you destroy it before it can do a thing. So, crush it first. Let it sit on the cutting board while you get the rest of dinner going and add it in near the end. If you'd rather roast it whole in the skin because that protects the most allicinin of all. 1 or 2 cloves a day is plenty. And skip the aged black garlic and the pickled stuff if cholesterol is your goal because most of the allicinin is already gone by the time it gets to you. Number 9. Onions. Onions are packed with a prebiotic fiber called inulin. And inulin is the exact food those good gut bacteria are hungry for. Feed them and they break down more of your bile and help push it out of you. And every bit of bile you lose forces your liver to pull cholesterol out of your blood to make more. That's the loop working in your favor. Onions bring a second thing, too, an antioxidant called quercetin, which helps calm inflammation and has even been tied to slightly lower blood pressure in the research. The whole onion family counts here. Red onions, white onions, leeks, shallots, and garlic. Again, cooking them is fine, by the way. The prebiotic fiber holds up to heat, so a pan of caramelized onions is still feeding your gut. And onions do one more thing people forget. They make the genuinely healthy food, the beans and the greens, taste good enough that you'll actually eat them again tomorrow. That matters more than people admit because the best cholesterol food on earth does nothing if it's so bland you quit in a week. Cook them into whatever you're already making and don't peel away too many of the outer layers because a lot of the good stuff sits right near the skin. Number 8, broccoli. Broccoli brings soluble fiber, but its real trick is a compound called glyceraphin. When you chop the broccoli, an enzyme turns that into sulforaphane, and sulforaphane switches on a protective system inside your cells called NRF2. NRF2 is your body's built-in defense against the daily damage that ages and stiffens your blood vessels. Researchers at Johns Hopkins have studied sulforaphane for years and tied it to lower bad cholesterol and less inflammation. And big population studies link the people who eat the most cruciferous vegetables to less heart disease overall. Here's the part almost nobody does. Chop your broccoli and let it sit for 20 or 30 minutes before you cook it. That rest gives the enzyme time to make the sulforaphane. If you cook it the second you cut it, the heat wipes out most of the benefit before it ever forms. Steam it until it's just tender and don't boil it into gray mush because boiling leaches the good stuff right out into the water. If you want to go Allen, broccoli sprouts have far more sulforaphane than the grown fouettis gram for gram. And if you genuinely can't stand broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts are all the same family and do the same job. Number 7, ground flaxseed. And this is the single easiest thing on the whole list to add to your day. Flax is one of the richest sources you can buy of that gel-forming soluble fiber that traps bile. On top of that, it carries a plant omega-3 and compounds called lignans, and both of those bring cholesterol down on their own. Put it together, and the studies the Cleveland Clinic points to show ground flax can meaningfully lower bad cholesterol, especially when you eat it every day. But there's one catch, and it's a big one, so listen. If you eat flax seeds whole, they go straight through you, and you get almost nothing because the shell is too tough for your gut to crack open. They have to be ground. Buy them already ground or grind them yourself in a cheap little coffee grinder and keep them in the fridge so the oils stay fresh. 2 tablespoons a day is the target. Stir it into your oatmeal, your yogurt, a smoothie, sprinkle it over soup, whatever you already eat. You will not taste it, and it costs you almost nothing. If you don't have flax, ground chia seeds are a decent backup that works the same way. And drink a little extra water with either one so the fiber does its job comfortably. Number 6, apples. That old line about an apple a day actually holds up. Apples are full of a soluble fiber called pectin, and pectin grabs cholesterol down in your gut and carries it out of you. And there's real proof here, not just an old saying. A 2020 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition put people on 2 apples a day and watched their bad cholesterol and their triglycerides come down over the weeks. The whole apple does a second favor too. It's bulky and filling. So you eat one and you're satisfied, and you're a lot less likely to reach for a cookie an hour later. Just make sure it's the actual fruit. Applesauce has a fraction of the fiber, and apple juice has almost none, plus a big hit of sugar, and that sugar drives up your triglycerides, which is another blood fat you don't want climbing. So eat the whole apple, skin and all, because a lot of the pectin lives right in the skin. And apples aren't the only ones. Pears, oranges, and even the humble carrot are loaded with pectin too. So mix them in. Real quick, if this is helping you, hit subscribe and give the video a like. Takes 2 seconds, and it genuinely helps me keep making these. That's it. Number 5. Number 5, walnuts. Most of this list is about fiber, but walnuts earn their spot a completely different way. They're loaded with a healthy polyunsaturated fat, including a plant omega-3. And when that fat takes the place of the saturated fat you'd otherwise be snacking on, your bad cholesterol drops and the lining of your arteries works better. The American Heart Association ties a small daily handful of walnuts to lower heart disease risk. And the studies show it's enough to nudge your bad cholesterol down a few percent. Walnuts have the most of that plant omega-3, but almonds and pistachios lower cholesterol too. So eat whichever you'll actually keep in the house. Just watch the amount because nuts are calorie dense. A small handful, about a quarter cup, is the sweet spot. Not the whole bag in front of the TV, and not the sugary candied kind. And walnuts are the right moment to clear up fat because most people have it backwards. The saturated fat in fatty cheese, fried food, and packaged pastries does the exact opposite of everything on this list. It tells your gut to hold on to its bile and its cholesterol instead of dumping it. But the fat in nuts, olive oil, avocado, and fish actually helps your heart. It's the hard, solid, saturated fat, the kind that stays firm at room temperature, that quietly works against you. Number 4, barley. And now we're into the heavy hitters. Barley is loaded with a specific soluble fiber called beta-glucan. And beta-glucan is the best bile trapper there is. It forms a thick gel in your gut, and it is very good at its one job. It's proven solid enough that the FDA lets food companies print a heart health claim right on the box. And a review by Ho and colleagues found barley beta-glucan lowered bad cholesterol by around 7%. The easiest way to use it is a straight swap. Trade the white rice sitting next to your dinner for barley, or throw a handful into a soup or a stew where it thickens everything up nicely. You've just turned a dead fiber-free starch into one of the best cholesterol tools you can buy. Go for whole barley over pearled barley if you can find it, because pearling strips off the outer layer and takes some of the fiber with it. And here's a bonus trick that works for barley or any grain. Cook it, cool it in the fridge overnight, and eat it the next day. The cooling turns some of the starch into what's called resistant starch, which feeds your good bacteria and flattens your blood sugar on top of everything else. Number 3, black beans. If you eat meat most nights, this is your single biggest move. A few nights a week, swap the meat for black beans. Beans bring soluble fiber plus resistant starch. And that resistant starch feeds the bacteria that make butyrate. Butyrate is basically fuel for your gut lining, and it's part of how your gut keeps cholesterol moving out of you instead of back in. The evidence on beans is strong. A review published in the Canadian Medical Association journal pulled the studies together and found that just one serving of beans or lentils a day lowered bad cholesterol by about 5%. That is a plain, cheap food doing what a lot of people are hoping a pill will do. And I'll be straight with you, beans make some folks a little gassy the first week or two. That's just your gut bacteria adjusting to the new fiber and it settles down. A couple of tricks help. If you use dried beans, soak them overnight and dump that water. If you use canned, rinse them well. And start with half a cup and work up. Push through it because the payoff is worth it. Number 2, navy beans. All beans are good for you, but the white ones, the navy beans, are the soluble fiber champions of the whole bunch. A single cup carries around 19 grams of fiber. That's more than most Americans eat in an entire day, sitting in one bowl. And that fiber isn't only trapping bile, it's feeding the whole crew of good bacteria we keep coming back to. The ones that turn your cholesterol into a form your body simply can't reabsorb. It doesn't have to be navy beans, by the way. Lentils, chickpeas, kidney beans, pinto beans, they all pull in the same direction. So rotate them through the week so you don't get sick of any one. And here's something worth knowing. Beans show up in the everyday diet of nearly every group of the longest living people on Earth. There's a reason for that. Keep a few cans in the cupboard. Rinse them well to cut the salt and the gas. And throw a cup into soups, salads, chili, whatever's already on the plate. Cheap, plain, boring, and it flat out works, which is exactly why it lands this high on the list. And number 1, the single most proven cholesterol food on the planet, oats. Oats carry that same beta-glucan as barley, and they have more research behind them for lowering cholesterol than just about any food on Earth. Get about 3 grams of beta-glucan a day, which is roughly 1 good bowl of oatmeal. And both Mayo Clinic and the FDA point to a 5 to 10% drop in bad cholesterol in weeks, not years. That's the fast in the title of this video, and it's an honest word. Use real oats, steel cut or old-fashioned rolled, and skip the sugary instant packets because the sugar in those works against you. And if you want it even stronger, Oat Brand has even more beta-glucan packed into it than regular oats. Top the bowl with berries or a spoon of that ground flax instead of a pile of brown sugar. Throw a little cinnamon on it and you've done more for your heart before 9 in the morning than a decade of skipping eggs. Now, one last thing I promised at the start, and it's important. Some of you are going to do all of this and still watch your numbers stay high. You are not doing it wrong. About 1/3 of people are what we call super absorbers. Your genes basically program your gut to grab and recycle every last bit of cholesterol it can get. If you've eaten clean for months and your number won't budge, Or if high cholesterol runs hard in your family and shows up even in the thin active ones, then assume that's you. You didn't cause it, your genes did. And the good news is genetic absorption is the exact thing a daily wall of soluble fiber is built to beat. For you, 3 foods carry most of the weight, and they're the ones I got most excited about: oats, barley, and beans. The key word is daily, not now and then. That's what brings a stubborn number down, often enough to keep you off a second pill. And there's one more tool made for absorbers specifically: plant sterols and stanols. They're compounds that compete with cholesterol for absorption in your gut and block some of it from getting in. You'll find them added to certain spreads in orange juice and in smaller amounts in nuts, seeds, and vegetable oils. About 2 grams a day can lower bad cholesterol another 10% or so, which is a real dent. If you're a super absorber, that's worth asking your doctor about. And people always ask me, how fast is fast? If you do this consistently, your bad cholesterol can start dropping in about 2 to 4 weeks, and it keeps improving from there. One thing to know, though, your cholesterol lives in your blood for a few days at a time, so eating well for 2 days right before a blood test won't fake a good number. It's the daily habit over weeks that actually moves it. One more easy win before I let you go. If you want to trap even more bile, a spoonful of plain psyllium husk stirred into a glass of water is about the purest soluble fiber you can get. It's the same stuff in most of those fiber supplements at the store. Take it once a day with plenty of water, and it works right alongside everything on this list. One honest thing before we wrap up, because it matters. Food is powerful, but it works right alongside your doctor. If your cholesterol is very high, or you've already had a heart scare, or you're taking a statin right now, please do not stop anything or skip an appointment because a guy on the internet told you to eat oats. Bring this to your doctor instead. Tell them you want to give food a real, honest run, and ask them to recheck your numbers in a few months. For a lot of people, these foods are enough on their own. For others, they're the thing that lets a low dose finish the job. Either way, the food is the foundation under all of it. If you only change one thing tomorrow, change breakfast. A bowl of oats with a spoon of ground flax, and you're already attacking that recycling loop that kept your numbers stuck for years. And if all 10 feels like a lot to juggle, don't overthink it. Oats in the morning, beans at dinner, and a handful of nuts and an apple somewhere in between. Do that most days, and you've basically got the whole list covered. Start there, add the rest as you go, and let your body finally dump the cholesterol it's been hanging on to. If this helped you, subscribe so the next one finds you, and leave a comment telling me which food you're starting with. Take good care of that heart of yours. It's been working for you this whole time. Give it good fuel.